Welcome, welcome, welcome. HanesGainz in the house. How we all doing? I told you I'd get back to you soon. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys will enjoy this this segment. I think it was long overdue, but I thought about it for quite some time. So I wanted to make sure I got back to you with something of value. Before I start, I wanted to definitely mention to you all that I do have the FB group page up, HanesGainz. And so the purpose of that FB group page is that we go there as a community and that we create a movement. And the movement is that we get out and we move. And we get active, because if we don't get active, we die. And so that's a ride or die. That you hear me use that message. And I really believe that, because we ride or we die, meaning we either get moving and we get active and enjoy ourselves, or we slowly die, right? And we all understand that. It's very clear to understand that. So that group page is for that purpose, to go there, and you'll notice that I've been checking in anytime that I do something that I consider to be something that fills my life force up. And so I'll talk about what that means, that life force. It's a phrase that, believe it or not, Mark Hanes, HanesGainz, has coined as a part of my messaging. And if you do any research or do any searching on it, it's mine. I've basically started to use this as a part of my content. I think describing your inner soul and your inner energy as a life force is a great way that people can pick up on that very easily. So when you go to our group page, it's our group page, right? It's us. You'll notice that the verbiage is on their life force, and you see that little rocket ship, that emoji of a rocket ship. And so what I mean by that is that life force gets filled up daily in many ways. And so when we look at how we are and what we are, and we look at fitness and exercise as a big part of what we do and a big part of what recharges us, part of one of my points to you today is to look at a life force and to look at yourself and really rethink how you fill up that life force. And so when we talk about being happy as an individual and being full in life and feeling fulfilled and just being content, we are talking about a lot more than just being in mental and physical sound body and mind and in shape that way. We're talking about other things too as well, in terms of filling ourselves up with family and friends and getting out and doing things. But one of the biggest problems is that, what I'm going to get into in a minute here, is that we're our worst enemies, and our mind's our worst enemies, because we beat ourselves up constantly. And so why I say that, and I'm very direct in saying that, is because I've spoken through this process of me growing with you, and the reason why we're on here is because a lot has affected me in my life in the sense of my experience over, call it 30 years, with regards to fitness, life, professional experience, a dad, being a husband, battling things like alcoholism, just having lots of life experience have really qualified me to have the time to share and be able to hopefully benefit us all with what I've experienced and what's worked for me and what's continuing to work for me. So this jar here is here for a reason. So a quick shout out to Tom Bristol, one of my mentors in life and a coach of mine in high school. And so we've always been in contact, but recently he sent me a couple interesting things. And so with regards to life force, I'm gonna use this idea that he sent me recently that kind of looked at life, but with us we're looking at the life force, because if you go to the group page HanesGainz, which it's HANES capital GAINZ, right? And just real quickly to remind everybody, HanesGainz, the Hanes is me. Without me, without that life force, I can't make any gains in life. And so what the purpose of that name is that it's also you, so that you, and you see a lot of that referenced on my information, and when you look at the description, that you is Hanes as well, so that without you taking care of you, you're not going to have any gains in life either. So it's all about taking care of ourselves and doing positive things. So getting back to this, I want you to look at this as a life force, right? So with the life force, for example, I went and worked out this morning, so don't mind the noise for a second. So I hit the gym this morning at 5:15. I had a plan. I talked to a buddy last night. He's actually one of my football players, and we went and we hit the gym. He's my gym buddy. I'm a mentor, so he's not a buddy. I'm a mentor for this guy. So this morning I went to the gym, and that's a big part of my day. That filled me up quite a bit, right? So take a look at that, people. That's a full jar, right? And if I was to ask a room full of people, they would say that was full, right? Okay, but is it full? So now, as a LifeForce throughout the day, we've got to find ways, because a workout's not going to last the entire day. It's not going to take care of everything, right? So now these are some electrical. I just lost a couple, but these are just some electrical pieces. But this thing was full, and I'm losing things, but that's okay. I'll fix it. So now I've just taken all of that electrical, very clearly red, and so now I'm in there with that, right? So now you would say that that's pretty full, right? That's incredibly full, right? And if I had a room full of people looking at that, they would probably say that that's pretty full. So let's say that the red pieces reflected maybe I was able to hook up with a friend for lunch today, you know, that I hadn't hung out with in a while, and lately that's been happening in my life because of just me taking better care of myself. Now I'm feeling better about myself, and of course that's contagious, and so people are reaching out, and so I'm hooking up and hanging out with people that I haven't met with or hung out with in a long time because of that. So let's just say that I filled up again like that. Well, is it full yet? It's not, right? Well, maybe you think so, but it's not to me, right? So here's some sand that I pulled out of my beach in the backyard that I built as a project for my wife. So here, this is full, right? My finger's right in here. This is sand. So here we go, right? Are we quickly getting the point of what's happening here, right? There's just so many ways in life that if we don't look at something a different way, we don't see it. And I literally, for the sake of time, I'm not going to do it, but I literally could take this next jar and I could continue to fill that up. Okay? And I have a glass of water here that I could proceed to now dump in this entire thing and fill that up with the water. And I don't want to do that just because I want to save time. But the point's made is that when we look at our lives moving forward, people understand this. You know, we've gotten too much of a forward-thinking mentality right now. We're not stopping to smell the roses and understand that there's a lot more value in who we are and what we're about. So please continue to take a step back and think about your life in a different way. And this is a LifeForce like we talked about to start off with. And so there are many ways that we fill that LifeForce up throughout the day. And so that's, you know, a way for me to just share with you. When you look at that web page, that group page, as we continue this movement, this is going to be an amazing movement. Right now there's 590 members, but we're going to share all the various ways. I should have taken a picture with my buddy at lunch, and I should have posted that. You know, the contact with my previous coach, high school coach and mentor. You know, that was a filling moment, right? Because he shared something that I just shared with you, and that's how quickly I am these days with regards to picking up connections and really being able to transfer thoughts. And the reason why my mind, I feel, is so sharp that way is because it goes back to what we're talking about. You know, are you taking care of you? Again, when we talk about taking care of you and that life force, are you really thinking about your mind and your body? Are you thinking of activities mainly to start off with? I am saying exercise, right? Because we have to be physically fit. We have to be physically fit. We have to be there. We've got to be taking care of that heart, and we've got to be taking care of the body, and there's got to be you know, some physical fitness that involves some strength training too as well. So when we continue to talk, I want to qualify myself and continue to share information. I know this is a longer video, but it's intended to get you to understand and learn more about me, because one thing I've learned through this process of, you know, really trying to get mentally healthy, and I'm not perfect, I never will be perfect, and if anything, you'll find I apologize on a regular basis. If my family were in here talking to you today, I'm a communicator, and that's a strength of mine, but I still make a lot of mistakes, and I apologize to my family on on a regular basis. And so, you know, that's a good share, because people need to understand that when they're wrong, you apologize. You do, you just do it. And that's how you own up to it. I'm a man, I say man up to it, right? So going back to qualifying myself, just in the fitness sense, right? So I think a lot of people immediately, you know, definitely gravitate towards me because I am a 43-year-old man. I was born May 16th of 1974. I joke around, and that's funny because, no, I don't look 43. I mean, I get a lot of comments that I look a lot younger, because I definitely have been one to really try and take care of myself over the course of the 43 years that I've been alive. But what's not clear is, if you didn't know me on a very, very personal level, you know, that last 25 years of my life has been a very roller coaster oriented life as far as being consistent with that treatment of my fitness and my body. So the point being is that, although be it, you know, I may appear to be someone that might be fit at times, you know, for the past 25 years, that may not be the case. I may have been in and out of gyms and you know, going through the ups and downs of pulling myself in and out of what was my happy place, right? So when we talk about fitness on here and we talk about taking care of you, that's always very important for me to stress that when you hear me speak about fitness and I speak about what I do, that's my experience, and it may not be what you're into, and that's not the intentions of what I'm talking about. It's to continue to wake us up, to continue to slap us in the face and kick us in the butt and say, forget about all the noise. You know, you could look at this jar here, and you could look at what was going on here, and you could look at the golf balls as your family. You could look at the red pieces as just the activities that are necessary in life. You could look at all that sand as the noise that happens around us that we pay too much attention to. If you can continue to do the things that we're talking about and really focus on taking care of you, that noise becomes a lot less visible in your mind, and you can very easily separate that and not pay attention to it, because your confidence is on another level, your intelligence is on another level, and you see things differently. So when I speak to people, and I'm not trying to tangent, but when I do speak to people, again, I speak to very successful individuals, and have conversations with people that I know are incredible inside and out, and professionally, for mothers and fathers, and they are beating themselves up. And you wouldn't believe the things they say or they describe themselves of in that situation. And I immediately, and that's the job that this is what I do. If you want to understand who I am and what I do, that's where I jump in, and as a communicator, I stop that. And we reassess who they really are, because we're all individual. We all have incredible histories, so we are superheroes in our own rights. And so when you look at that, we need to understand that, because it's special. We all have very special histories that encompass a lot of experience.